Hey friends, Rob Phoenix Hexameister here. Hope you're all doing well. Um, Tonight I want to talk to you about something that's very interesting. It comes to us from the English, like English and British folk Christianity. Was something called the Sin Eater. The Sin Eater was basically a person chosen from a village or community, or who volunteered maybe, um, to take on all the sins into his own soul of someone who has died, so that person could then go to heaven, and the sin eater would have all these souls or all these sins on his soul. It was an interesting practice, and the way it was done is that when someone died, the family would call for the sin eater, and the sin eater would come. The family would prepare food and pass it over the corpse, and then the sin eater would eat it, and that would take all the sins of this person into the sin eater's body and soul, and thus allow the deceased person to go into heaven, go through the gates of heaven. And they really had a really strong belief in this. It's everything I've read about it or looked up. Said that the person was really kind of hated by the community. It was a job that nobody wanted, and because this person had taken so many sins onto their soul, they were considered like just evil and horrid and wretched and such. With there, it's interesting that like a remnant of that has survived within Pennsylvania German powwow. And I never connected the two until a couple of years ago. My friend Alistair, who's one of my hexameisters, found a charm, a powwow charm that mentions sin eaters. And he asked me if that meant like the actual English sin eaters. And I didn't know at the time. And I just set it aside. And now years have passed. And I came across something about a week or two ago about the sin eaters, and I thought I better take a deep dive into this because this seems interesting, because I had never thought about it before. And I found that charm that he had brought up, and I realized that yes, in fact, this charm does reference the eating of the sins, and it makes sense. I mean, all that, cunning folk and powwow, we all have our same roots. And so the sin eater here in Pennsylvania, the job of the sin eater almost became the job of the powwower or the hexenmeister, because the illness or the badness was removed from a person through ritualistic means while they were still alive, and then thrown towards places like the Hexenkopf. So it was believed that all that bad and all that yuck, because illness was believed to be caused by demons, and demons were attracted to people who had great sin on their soul. And so the more sick someone was, the greater their sin, the more demonic attachment that was causing this illness and wasting away. And so the removal of illness, the removal of curses, the removal of demons was actually the removal of that person's sin. And that was then thrown into places like the Hexenkopf, thus making places like that kind of diseased with all that yuck. So that's how the sin eater role kind of carried into Pennsylvania German culture, but just took on a different form. The particular term that I want to share with you is pretty interesting. It's from the long lost friend. It's how to banish the fever. It says, write the following words upon a paper and wrap it up in knotgrass. Knotgrass is like a Japanese kind of plant. Generally grows where there's like parking lots or dusty places where other things don't grow or whatever. Now, because it can be tricky to find or get, you can use other things. Like if you can find bindweed, if you can find or even cucumber vine, because we have a vegetable garden, I see the behavior of these various plants and such. And cucumber vine, it shoots out these little tendrils that like snake around things and loop to hold the vine up as it grows. So it's really interesting to watch, like this living thing, adapting to its environment. And so you can use some of that. You can use morning glory, because morning glory attaches itself and grows and binds, and yeah, you can use anything that just kind of does that, even ivy to an extent, if you can't find knotgrass. So write the following words upon a paper and wrap it up in knotgrass, and then tie it upon the body of the person who has the fever. And the words look like barbarous words. Pot, mat, sin, eat. So looking it up, like I did a couple Google translators, like Latin to English and that sort of thing. And it looks like the word sin, eat is actually just the word sin, eat. And pot, mat looks like it's Latin for something like let him or let his. And so my thought is this basically says, like, let his sins be eaten. Let his sins be eaten. Let his sins be eaten. 3 times. That's fascinating because it's to banish a fever. So, it's like even in the Bible when Jesus, he's arguing with the Jewish priesthood about healing somebody on Sunday, and he says, fine, then then I'll say this: your sins are forgiven. Go in peace. And the person was healed. And so the idea is that the forgiveness of sins is also healing. And if the illness is caused by something spiritual or supernatural or demonic, or your sin weighing on your soul, manifesting as an illness, the forgiveness or the removal of those sins is then the cure. So it's an interesting old belief. It doesn't have a lot of popularity in this day and age, but I think it's fantastic that it worked its way into Pennsylvania German Hexameister work. So yeah, that's that. You'll find that in The Long Lost Friend. In the copy I have here, it's charm number 32, How to Banish the Fever. And yeah, just remember that it means may his sins be eaten, or let his sins be eaten. And there you go. I would think to be a sin eater would really, I don't know what that person does at the end of days. I guess begs for for it to be cleansed. I mean, but they take all those sins on themselves willingly. I'm not sure what that means. I imagine it must be a rough life to live. And also kind of cheating for the people whose sins are eaten, but anyway, interesting stuff, kind of spooky, perfect for October. And yeah, there you go. If you've ever wondered about a sin eater, that's what they were, and that's what they are now in Pennsylvania Dutch culture. That's it. God bless you guys. Love you. Have a good night.